Hello everybody, my name is KingStix. A lot of people don't think Kayn can be an effective counter jungler in the early game. And when I say early game, I mean your first level. I'm going to be showing you how to counter jungle on Kayn in the very early game. This strategy may seem risky, but if you take into account all the different factors, it's really not risky at all. In this case, I'm jungling against an Evelynn. She's pretty slow at clearing her first buff since she doesn't have her charm yet, which does max % health damage. So I want to go and take her Raptors and kill her on her red. I know she's going to be starting with her bot lane because that's what Evelynn does. So I'm going to go up to the Raptors, one auto attack, and Q through. You want to get to the Raptor camp at exactly 1 minute 27. That's exactly when they spawn in. That way you can take them as fast as possible. Your second Q should finish off the camp, take E level 2, and just run over the wall and smite it from them. This should work 9 out of 10 times. If they are a jungler that clears fast like Master Yi, they'll have already taken their buff if they got a leash from their bot lane. On your way out, ward the bush, that way you can see if they go for your blue buff. Since I warded that bush right there, if she goes for my blue buff or my right side jungle, I'll see her and I'll be able to go beat her up. She's only level 1, she doesn't have red buff, I'm level 2 with red buff. So right now I'm keeping a close eye on the minimap and I can see she's not going for my blue buff. So I can figure she's going to her blue buff. So I want to finish taking this Raptor camp very quickly, and I am level 3 because I did her Raptors, red buff, my Raptors, and I think I got a few minions worth of XP in the mid lane. So I figure she probably went to her blue buff. Sure enough, she is on it, and she's only level 1, so she can't really outsmite me even though I don't have smite. Level 1 junglers have no real way to fight you off, especially if you are level 3. And if you take a look at the tab, she has literally 0 CS. I took her Raptors, took her red, come to her blue, and during all that time, she didn't have enough time to take a single camp. That's how fast Kayn can clear Raptors. Kayn can clear Raptors before people can even get done a single camp. I got done my Raptors and came all the way over to her blue buff before she even had it finished. If you can prioritize Raptors on Kayn, you're definitely going to go places and you're going to get very good with him. Since I'm already in her jungle, I went ahead and helped myself to her Gromp and her wolves. Since her Raptors and red buff are still gone, she doesn't have much to take on her side of the jungle. Now she could theoretically go for my blue buff or wolves, but I do still have that ward over there, which will see her if she goes for it, and then I can go stop her. She's still level 1 with 0 CS, so she won't be able to take the camp very quickly. As long as I see her going for it, I'll be able to stop her with ease before she can even finish taking it. Since I'm over here, I'm going to take the scuttle. I'm going to cross over for the other scuttle crab. I figure since most of her camps are down, all she has is golems up. She's probably going for the scuttle crab. I do stay mid to push it, which is a little bit weird. I guess I just wanted to have as much carry potential as possible. And I also didn't want Anivia potentially roaming on me if I do go for Evelynn's golems. At this point, I'm going to go straight for the scuttle and towards my blue buff because I want to figure out if she is on it. Using the plant to get me some more vision. I now see her golems are gone, so odds are she's either recalling or trying to gank something, because if she didn't have enough time to do golems and go to my blue buff, so I don't even really think she's at my blue buff right now. So I'm taking the scuttle, I'm looking around at my lanes on the minimap, trying to figure out if I can gank something. I don't really see a gank. I am level 5, but I don't have any items, so I'm actually not that strong. Here I take a really stupid ganking path. I just, out of habit, walk straight at them. I should have gone through the dragon pit, eat over the wall, and came up behind them right here. Instead, I just did my stupid gank, and it didn't work because it was obviously warded. At this point, I just back because I got 1.5k gold, so I might as well back at some items so I can keep the pressure on Evelynn as her jungle camp start respawning back in. I'm really far ahead right now, so I can go for some more dangerous items like rushing mobility boots. This will help me get a lot more pressure on the Evelynn. And I also go for Poacher's Dirk, because if I can get off the 4 stacks, I'll get the Serrated Dirk, and that's essentially a free 600 gold, which is 2 full kills worth of gold. So now I'm ready to snowball. The only issue is you can't really tell right now. All of the lanes are actually losing. If I had been more perceptive, using my F keys and looking around on the minimap, I would have been able to tell that I probably should have gone for just safer straight up damage items such as rushing my warrior. That way I could carry harder. Whenever I left base, I saw her red buff was up in 1 minute 53 seconds, which is why I did golems, red buff, raptors, wolves, and my blue buff, and then came over here. Her red buff still almost up because it was yellow, which means it's 20 seconds or less, plus through tab I could see what's coming up. So it did just come up because it turned gold. So I went for the golems first. Sure enough, she's on it. That's why I saved my smite just in case. I'm way higher level than her, so I can just take it from her, the perks of being much higher level. At this point, I leave because enemy mid laner and bot laners are missing. So I just E out, get to the plant, and skedaddle. Now her blue buff is going to be up here shortly, and I see her raptors are also up. I figured she would be on raptors and I could kill her with my ultimate, or she's most likely going to her blue buff. It's a little bit harder to pressure top lane since Talon is losing top pretty hard. Here, I was just trying to get Evelynn to use her smite on it, which would make it much more difficult for her to fight me later on her buffs. So I do get the smite out of her and I get the rest of her raptors. Now, since my mid lane has a little bit of pressure and we're getting Scuttle Crab, that'll help me to counter the rest of her jungle. Using my level 6 pressure when Evelynn's level 4, I can sweep out her whole jungle and she can't really contest me. I thought Garen was coming, but he wasn't. Now I have my Serrated Dirk after finishing this Gromp. That's a massive power spike. Like I said, free 600 gold. I come to try to gank the Garen, but you'll see what happens. Bruisers are insane right now. Tanks, unless you're referring to Singed or Sion in the top lane, aren't viable. But things like Garen, Irelia, Fiora are just insane. Garen is by far the tankiest bruiser there probably is, but referring to him as a true tank isn't really correct. However, it's very tempting to, since his I believe it's his W. Not his Q or his spin, but I think it's his W makes him insanely tanky. Long story short, we lost this game because this Talon bought his account from an Ivern main. He's never played Talon before in his life, and he doesn't really play Ivern anymore either. So he fed the crap out of Garen. He was way too powerful for me to even 1v1. After comboing him with 2 Qs, many auto attacks, and 2 knockups, I couldn't even do half of his health, so it's safe to say, even with an ultimate, I wouldn't have been able to kill him. I do need to critique myself. My build was garbage. For what I was fighting, having the boots of mobility, I should have never really gone for them, even though I was snowballing. I'd have been a lot better off going with tabbies or merc treads against the enemy team, since I knew I wasn't going to be able to go blue Kayn because everyone on the enemy team was melee. Since I was going to be killing Evelynn a lot, there would really be no point in me going blue Kayn into something like their team comp, since our team doesn't have a real tank. Also, another thing I have to say is I went for Death's Dance. That's not really a good item, especially if you are the only tank on your team. Going for a Dead Man's Plate or Spirit Vestige would have been a lot more useful. The Death's Dance gives barely any more healing from my abilities. My passive already gives you so much on Red Kayn, so much healing off the damage you do to enemy champions, that having Death's Dance doesn't really do anything at all. The final critique I want to make on my build is I did actually build Youmuu's before I got my Black Cleaver on Red Kayn, because I had my Serrated Dirk and I just really wanted to go for it since I was snowballing super hard. If I could have done it over again, I would have left the Serrated Dirk as a Serrated Dirk after I got my stacks off of my Poacher's Dirk, and I would have gone straight for the Black Cleaver and gotten my Youmuu's or Duskblade after that, because in the mid game it was making me hurt a little bit because Garen kept wrecking me. And that is how you counter jungle like a god playing Kayn on the top side of the map. I'm going to show you the same thing, but from the opposite side of the map, showing you the pathing. Alright, so if you are on the other side of the map, most likely the enemy jungler is going to start on their blue buff with their bot lane for the best leash possible. There are a few junglers that might start on red buff, or if they're trying to counter you, but that's actually really rare. 9 times out of 10, you'll meet 0 resistance, and if they do start on their red buff, you can usually take it from them because you'll be level 2. And your smite will be stronger, and you'll have both your abilities. So typically if they are on the red buff, they're getting a leash from their top laner and they're taking it really slow. So come out at around 123 to come do the raptors out of the bush. You should get there right as they spawn in. Auto attack, Q through it. Here, one of the raptors gets locked off to the side and keeps running away. That's actually really rare. So he doesn't take quite as much damage as everybody else, and he's kind of got out of the way. But I still get over there, take E level 2. And at this point, if they were doing the red buff, you could easily steal it from them and then get away. In this case, the enemy jungler started with his bot lane on the blue buff. So I'm just going to drag this into the bush, take it, and I am going to smite it once it gets down below 410 HP. So just auto smite, it's dead. Now I can jump over the wall and the skull spawns in at 2 minutes. And right when I get over here, guess what? It's like 2 minutes, 2 seconds. So right as the skull spawns in, I'm getting it. Really fast, efficient pathing. Now I did make a really big mistake that's very important for me to point out. Whenever you are leaving the red buff, before you jump over the wall, you need to ward the bush. You need to know where they're going after they realize they got boned and you took everything. I'm going to show you that right here in the video. I realized I didn't show you. This is the bush you want to ward. You want to know if they're going to be ganking your mid laner or if they're coming for your blue buff at that point, because whenever you are finishing off the Scuttle Crab, if they started on their blue buff, they should be there by now. And a lot of times they do come for you, so that ward's nice because then you can react accordingly. Your mid laner can come help you, or if your smite's down, you can wait to take your blue. Typically after Scuttle Crab, you want to do Gromp and then blue buff because your smite will be on cooldown. So by the time you're done finishing your Gromp, if they do come for you, you'll be level 3, your smite will be up, so you can beat them since they're level 2 with no red buff. And if you do get into a smite fight, you're a higher level than them. In this case, I just did the blue buff because that's what I was closer to, but normally after Scuttle Crab, do Gromp, then blue with your smite. And then you can do your wolves and just clear out the whole rest of your jungle. This is a very efficient jungle pathing for getting the most CS and experience the safest way possible. If you are in lower elo, plat, and lower, this isn't necessarily the best jungle path. However, it is by far the safest. So if you don't feel like you're going to be able to get off any early kills on Kayn and you want to get a guaranteed advantage on the enemy jungler, I highly recommend these jungle paths that I showed you, and I think they'll give you a massive advantage on the competition. Regardless of how good you are at Kayn, by doing this, you're getting a massive leg up. And that is going to wrap up this Kayn counter jungle guide. If you enjoyed it and want to support the channel, you want to see more content like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My name is KingStix. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.